Hey everyone, welcome to Wholistic Hearts. Hey, man, I don't know about you, but this summer has been interesting. Number one, we've only had like 2 sunny days in Colorado, and yeah, it's interesting, just a different rhythm of life. And I'm sure that you have a different rhythm of life right now. And today I wanted to share with you just some things that are happening inside my world. I love sharing the things of just every aspect. That is the whole purpose of Holistic Hearts, right? We talk about mind, body, and spirit. And today I really want to hone back in on our body and what I've been learning about my body, some testimony that I would love to walk through with you, and what I've been learning. This has been a passion of mine since I was little. I've loved talking about wellness. I've loved talking about fitness. As you may know, I used to be a personal trainer for many years. And so from time to time, I love coming in here and talking about really what I've been learning in the physical space. So today is going to be like your wellness update. All right, so here we go. A couple things is, if you are like, hey, I don't really want to listen to this, I really encourage you to listen to this today. Our wellness really does affect every area of our life, our physical bodies. And so be encouraged and take heart that no matter where you are at in your journey of health, that God is always there to speak to us through our bodies. I actually was just having a conversation with a fellow podcaster yesterday. She was telling me this amazing testimony of the Lord showing her through her body where she needed to surrender. And she literally showed me in the crease of her neck. It had been folded up for years. And this last year, she went to a massage therapist who helped pull away her neck from her shoulders from many years being tensed up. And literally you can see a line where her neck used to be up and now it is released. And she was like, Kristen, it was so powerful to me that I was holding so much inside of my body. And the Lord was asking if I was ready to let it go and to surrender and breathe into those places. So this is for you, whether you work out a lot or not. And I hope that this blesses you in a way that, again, it is all together. He uses it all. So here is my update. You know our story from almost a year ago. Joshua and I started a program called 75 Hard, where for 75 days we did a certain protocol. You can listen to that journey. It was incredible. It definitely pushed me more than ever in a way that felt like I was stronger than I ever thought, and mentally, physically, and emotionally. And so we did that a couple times. We did the Chadwick Challenge this past spring, which was another version of that 75 Hard challenge. And as we finished out that, we were doing a Beachbody program called Lift More. And it was 5 days a week of training, weight training. And I absolutely love it. You've heard me talk about being a part of a text group that holds each other accountable almost every day of moving our bodies, whether that's lifting weights or walking or just enjoying being with our kids or gardening. And I have loved doing this program alongside of a couple of the women inside of that group. And we finished that up. It was an 8-week program. And I could feel in my body, like my joints started to hurt and like an achiness. And through my years of wellness and healing, just adrenal fatigue and being really aware of things that will tap out my adrenals. And what I mean by adrenals is, when you just get tired all the time. that's like tapping out your adrenals. Or if your cortisol goes out the roof really easily when kids scare you. I give that example because, man, when my boys have scared me, my cortisol goes out the roof. My adrenaline just goes. And so I'm very aware of the things that will tap out my adrenal glands. And so I was feeling that nudge of, hey, Kristen, I know you have done a lot. You have proven that your body is strong. And so I began to sense I feel like there's time for something different. And I ended up connecting with my former transformational coach, Brooke Harbor, who has been on the show many times. I think she's been on three times. Anyway, and she just kept saying, Kristen, you don't have to work as hard as you think you do. And I had been going back and forth with investing in a personal trainer to really help me focus in on my goals. And I was about to drop some dough, probably not needed. It was not needed. And she basically said to me, you don't need that. You already know what to do. And I want you to follow this program. And if you know me, I have been a Beachbody, or Body as it's called now, advocate for years. So it was really hard for me to jump out of that program. There's so many options that you can do in there. And so for me to not use my Beachbody program was like, oh, but I already paid for that. And yeah. So what I did was I started listening to the program that she recommended, which is called Mind, Body, Pump. And these guys there's 4 guys on this podcast. And it's like having Brooke, as my trainer and really stoking this flame of that love for personal training. And so I have binged listened to their episodes, and I finally invested in one of their programs, which is I think it's 12 weeks where it takes you through a process, different phases. And the program that I invested in it's called Aesthetic. And so it's more for like bodybuilding. But here's the thing, is that it is really built upon rest. So you'll hear me talk about rest here in a couple of episodes, but the rest component is the most important thing. So the first workout, it walked me through almost a full body workout, and it's like 3 by 8 or 12 reps. So meaning you go through it 3 times, 8 to 12 times each. So I was like, wow, this is a lot of volume of weightlifting. And what I didn't check was that you have to rest for at least 60 to 90 seconds in between every exercise. So if I did squats and I did, 8 squats, then I had to rest for 60 seconds. You guys, for somebody like me who is a get her done, like, let's just go for it, it was real hard to transition into this rest aspect. And you only lift 3 days a week. So that component in itself was really interesting and really hard for me in my flesh, because in my flesh, it was trying to prove something, right? Like, I can do way more than this. However, the work is done in the rest. And that's what I've been learning on their podcast, Mind, Body, Pump. And so I share all of that because sometimes we have to pause and the work is done in between the sets. There's so many analogies in life with working out. We have to be pushed beyond our limit, and the healing and the recreating and the rebirth of new muscle is created in the time that we're not working out. It's so cool if you just sit with that. And so I have been in real time learning how to rest in between sets. And now it does take me longer to work out. However, it's only 3 days a week versus 5 days of intense workouts. But this is where I'm seeing my body thrive. And another thing too is, so this weekend, the only thing that I did was walk. And I ended up skipping my last workout of last week. And when I went to go ask the question inside of the group, like how do you do that? Do you start with day 3 or do you jump to the next week? And again, over and over again, it's like, man, if you push yourself through that workout without listening to your body, you're actually doing yourself a disservice. And I love that they said, just follow the plan, even if you have more rest days than 1 or 2 days in between. It's better that way. That really encouraged me that I could chill the heck out, right? I mean, this is going from somebody who worked out twice a day this last year for more than half the year to a space of like, it's okay to rest in between. And it actually helps me work more efficiently when I'm lifting weights. Now, here is something that I have said multiple times. Every time we talk about wellness, I will say, if you have an option of doing cardio, like on the treadmill, running, or elliptical, or any of that, or lifting weights, then lift weights. That is more bang for your buck. And the reason being is because your muscles engage and the metabolic effects on your body are going to be way more than if you did cardio. And this is one of the things that I've been learning in this podcast, because I have heard my coach tell me this for years, that running and doing intense cardio, HIIT training with cardio is actually not beneficial in the long run. Now, hear me say this. It's not that it's not beneficial, but the cardio is beneficial. That is an added extra. Yes, take care of your heart. But you can do that by walking 3 times a week and not overexerting yourself. And so the example that they gave was, if you look at a long distance runner, their muscle mass is actually lower than, say, oh my goodness, I'm having a brain fart here, a speed, like a track runner who's going to have to explode off of the starting line, because their muscles are called to engage very fast, and you can only hold that for so long. Now, when you're doing weight training, walking a couple of days a week is going to complement that. Running or anything exerting yourself for longer is actually going to prevent muscle buildup, which I thought was really interesting, and I'm still unpacking that. So again, disclaimer, I am not a trainer anymore. I am not in that field of researching every little thing that comes out in the personal training world, but this is just what I've been learning and what I've been listening to on this Mind Pump podcast. So overall, yes, absolutely get your steps in. And I love too that walking and having just a goal of like getting 10,000 steps a day, it doesn't have to be on a treadmill. Like, park farther away at the grocery store. That easily adds up. Taking the stairs. Again, like making those extra steps, getting up every hour from your desk. Those add up in the long run. You don't have to sit there on a treadmill and it be boring for you and add up those 10,000 steps. Make it be fun. Go outside and play with your kids. That is going to be super valuable, because in the long run, it's actually interweaving your health into day-to-day life. And that will stick around longer than I'm going to go hop on the elliptical machine for 30 minutes Like that's just not sustainable for most people in life. And so if we can just think about like, how else can I move my body today? That's going to be helpful. Okay. The next thing that I learned was all about protein. I have heard this so much that no matter what your diet choice is, I know there's so much flack about starting a diet and really like, what do I do? Do I do keto? Do I do paleo? Do I do balanced meal? Do I do whole foods? And basically, if you can focus on just one simple thing, which is eating your protein, if you can eat your body weight in grams of protein per day, it's going to be a game changer for you, no matter what food choice you decide on. Because here's the deal. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you actually need 150 grams of protein every day. Now, don't just eat just protein. That's not healthy and that's not sustainable at all. Remember, this is a life journey. But protein is where you will build that muscle and you will sustain better energy from creating that environment inside of your body to thrive. And everything else, add on. And of course, try to stick with whole foods. That's the most simple way. Fruit, veggies, all those things. Yes, there are dietary issues and things we have to work with. I understand. I know I have a histamine issue, so I have to be cognizant of how much histamines I have in my diet. And obviously, celiac, I can't have gluten. So I know what I need. So I just love how the Mind Media Pump, I keep saying that podcast wrong. I'm going to look it up. It's actually called, let me see here, Mind Body Pump. Is that right? I don't know. I'm going to have to look it up. But anyway, that's like, if you really want to just simplify, okay, it is called Mind Pump. So check that out if you want more science behind this. If you want a simple way to hone in on your nutrition, eat your protein. So again, it's a lot of protein. So by the time you eat that much protein, we usually are not wanting the sweet things or the extra things that may not be the healthiest. And so that is helpful. And to eat protein in the form of food more than anything, protein shakes are helpful if you really cannot get in all of your grams of protein, which 150 grams of protein is a lot. And that's about where I am. So yeah, just take that, use it. I hope it's helpful. All right. The last thing is cycle syncing. Now, I have been in this space of learning about cycle syncing for a long time, a few years now. And as I've been learning and re-listening and relearning through this Mind Pump Media podcast and their program, the reason why cycle syncing works is because that we all have a natural body rhythm. Now, I opened up the show talking about my adrenals. Now, I know that my body can do more than maybe sometimes I get it credit for, but I also know that I need rest. And we know this through how God created design of seasons, of our cycle, of the way that the world works. Like, we're not always going to be in a harvest season in this world. We're not always going to be in summer season. And the reason why cycle syncing works is because we start to listen to our body. Now, if I could sum up my time with Brooke and her encouragement as a coach who looked at mind, body, and spirit, it was listen to your body, Kristen. What is your body telling you? And so I say that to you. The cycle syncing works because we start to lean in and listen. As a woman, if you don't know what cycle syncing is, I encourage you to Google it. It's basically lining up your cycle with your body's natural flow and rhythm, no pun intended. So typically during ovulation, we have a spike in energy, and that's when we could do like a HIIT workout or heavier weight training. And then as we go into the, oh gosh, see, I'm going to get the phases all mixed up, but the pre-period time, we can go into a slower rhythm. And then during our period, it would be more like yoga and Pilates and being gentle, and then building back up into more strength training once your period stops. So that's basically cycle syncing in a nutshell. And there's a whole slew of, how to do a business with cycle syncing, how to do workouts with cycle syncing, how to plan your life around cycle syncing. And if you think about it, when we take a step back, yes, we all have rhythms. And what's fascinating is that even men get value out of cycle syncing, which basically, when you take out the word cycle, it's just syncing to your body's rhythms. There are certain times of the month in the cycle of our being that we are more productive. There are certain times of day that we're more productive. And so in the Mind Pump podcast, it was fascinating because they were like, of course it works, because we begin to really listen to our body. Are we needing to rest today? Are we needing to really hone in on our creativity and push ourselves today? So I just thought that was really interesting because they have seen it actually work for men as well as women. So it's not necessarily that the period and our cycle, the menstrual cycle, the monthly process is the ticket. It actually is that we all have a rhythm. And I do love that in Mind Pump in their programs, that's why they have such an emphasis on rest, and they have phases. So there's 3-week phases. And if you know anything about lifting weights and stuff, there's a deload week, usually on that 4th week. And there's a reason for that, is because our bodies need a break, and it actually is more productive to deload or rest or to pause in how we typically are doing our training. And it will bring so much more value once our bodies are rested. So your takeaway from that is listen to your body. All right. Oh man. Okay. There was a lot there to share today. And I just wanted to let you in on all of that, because I feel like I just, it's some of those things that I'm like, I don't know, do I really share this stuff? But maybe this is helpful for you, and to hear where I'm at and what I'm learning. I do geek out on this stuff. So I would love to hear your heart, what you're learning in your wellness and your movement. And I hope that you are encouraged. So again, recap, eat your protein. So remember, grams of protein per pound of body weight. Example, if you're 150 pounds, then you eat 150 grams of protein. I will tell you, in all honesty, it's real hard to do. That's a lot of protein. So don't be discouraged. And secondly, get your steps in, get creative, get up and move your body. That is a game changer for sure. So at least 10,000 steps. Rest, rest, rest. Rest in between sets is important. Rest in between lifting days are important. And listening to your body and the rhythm that God has already given you. And that is a beautiful way to sync up and align with what He's already given you to explore. And I think that's it, my friend. Okay, I want to hear from you. If you are inside of our Facebook group, then share what's working for you right now. If you are not in our group yet, I encourage you to come inside of our Facebook group and share what has been working for you. All right. I love you, friend. I will talk to you soon. I'm excited about the next couple of episodes. We're going to be talking about the deep things of God, and including dream interpretation. We're going to talk about the gifts of the Spirit. We're going to talk about some really cool stuff. So stay tuned. I love you, friend. Bye-bye.